Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. I'm joined as always by Jackson. I'm Greg. How are you, Jackson?
Good, thanks, bro. How are you?
Also, we haven't done an intro for a while, so I thought I'd do something special. All
Yeah,
right, we're joined.
fucking A.
We've got a couple of special guests today. We've got Sohail and Andy. They are the brains and the brawn behind Brawn. Actually, I said Brawn before I said Brawn. So welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Say Brawn one more time.
Yeah.
We'll probably end up saying it a few more times.
I'll let you guess who's the brains and who's the brawn, Greg.
Well, it's hard to tell either. You look like a couple of brains there going on, but that's a great looking haircut there, Andy. I love it.
Thanks, mate. I actually need it freshened up. Should be a bit shorter on the back and the sides, you know.
Nice. All right, so it's probably no surprise to people with the advent of COVID in the last couple of years that many things have gone online. Virtual sport is taking off. I think Formula One was already moving online anyway. Because I remember something from years back, So was it, how many years back was that? Was the watching the Formula One guys race around the track in a virtual?
Yeah, like a Gran Turismo type, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was just a matter of time.
They did it with the cycling as well.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, doesn't it? You know, and you're seeing a lot of these. I know we've got a gym over here called Bluefit, and I think there's a lot of virtual exercise going on as well. I think you check on a VR headset and yeah, it puts you running through the Alps or something like that. So, but yeah, no surprises that powerlifting was eventually about to go online. So yeah, Andy and Sohail, tell us all about it. Introduce yourselves and tell us all about it.
You can go first, Sohail.
Cool. So I'm a tech guy by background, so I've kind of worked in the property and financial services sector, running my own kind of data technology businesses. Started powerlifting 6 years ago. Fell in love very quickly with the numbers side of the sport, body weight on bar, reps and sets, following training cycles where you can kind of tangibly see progress over time. And then obviously the fact that it's numbers, nobody can take it away from you. You are stronger or you're not. You hit a 2.5 kg PB, it is a PB, it's measurable, no one can take it away from you. And for me, that's quite fulfilling. And it is something that you kind of carry around like a badge of honor. What are your numbers? What are your goals? Where are you going next? And then that coupled with the kind of camaraderie of kind of competition weekends or kind of training sessions with your pals. And I think, yeah, powerlifting is an individual sport, but one of the things that people always comment upon is at the actual competition, the people around the platform, the spectators, the coaches, the referees, they're cheering for the guy or girl with the barbell to hit their numbers, whatever that is. And for me, the camaraderie, the support network that I personally experienced from comp to comp was something that I kind of felt actually this could be bigger, this could be better, this sport could offer more people these kind of benefits. So yeah, we'll go into more detail later on, but that's kind of me and why I fell in love with the sport and kind of, I suppose, the early seed of what is today Brawn.
Yeah,
That's good.
Nice.
Sohail, before we move on to Andy, you've competed in powerlifting as well, or has it been a pastime or something you've taken to national level, regional level?
Yeah, no. So I mean, I've been kind of a recreational gym bro through uni. You know, the usual shoulders, biceps, pecs to look good in a t-shirt on a night out. That was kind of me and my relationship with the gym in my 20s. Never really done team sport after kind of teens. So kind of played cricket to a decent level, played a bit of football, and that was it. And then wanted to do something that I could do independently. But the problem with playing a team sport is that you're playing five-a-side football, for example, which is quite popular in England for dad bods. You need 9 other guys to play at the same time at the same location, which isn't practical for me when I've got kids and I work away. So I needed a kind of a sport that I could do independently. So you kind of look at things like bodybuilding, look at things like powerlifting, or something that's strength-based where you can train in silo around your own schedule. So didn't kind of start training to become a powerlifter, or actually started training to try and become a bodybuilder. But there's a joke there, don't have don't have the body. And then, yeah, I did. At 18 months in, kind of got the bug for getting stronger. And literally the guys that I met during kind of going to the gym and starting to
you realized how hard dieting for a stage actually is.
Yeah.
You're like, no, this is too much.
I didn't even get to that stage, Andy. I realized I didn't have the body. Decided to kind of, do you know what, my mates are competing, had no aspirations of hitting any particular numbers, but just kind of wanted to go make it official. Hit some PBs on the platform. I was told that the adrenaline and the experience that you get from being in a comp will push your numbers to a new level. Did the first comp, performed dreadfully, got a 3 red lights on my first squat because I didn't follow the command. That was my introduction to powerlifting.
That's a classic. That's a classic.
And then, but literally every single person just found it hilarious and gave me a back slap and went, there you go. And then, yeah,
welcome to the club.
Yeah. And then from there, kind of competed up to internationals. So kind of over 3 to 5 years, did kind of regionals, nationals. Where I met Andy was kind of my first British finals at Body Power in Birmingham, kind of one of the biggest kind of commercial powerlifting comps in the UK. And I've done the Europeans and I've done a Worlds as well. So yeah, I've done the full range. Wouldn't say that I was particularly good, slightly above average, but lots of passion and enthusiasm.
Awesome.
If only that counted to the total, eh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sohail, what was it with the IPF in UK?
No, so I started with British powerlifting, and that was purely which is part of the WPC and AWPC. And that was, I didn't even know what the IPF was. Do you know what I mean? And this is one of the problems of powerlifting. For the first 18 months, I actually thought that was the only federation for powerlifting. So if you became British champion of that federation, you were British champion of Britain.
You're the man. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of, it was literally kind of 18, 24 months into powerlifting that I realized that no, 1 minute, there's other federations. Kind of British powerlifting isn't necessarily what the name says. And the reason why I went to that federation is because the guys in the gym that I were training with competed in that fed. So
that's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant.
And Andy, what was your background? Any background in powerlifting?
Yeah. So alongside the kind of professional career of typical route, go to uni, study, do a master's, realize that there's no money in strength and conditioning, so become a PT and sell your soul to the devil. From there, private personal training studio, opened up a gym, 12,000 square foot in the centre of Edinburgh, called Lift Gyms UK on Instagram if you want to check it out. And then alongside that, I realised that I wasn't good enough at rugby to take it to the standard that my ego potentially wanted me to. So needed something else to fill the competitive gap, and just kind of fell into powerlifting through that, because obviously went to the gym anyway as a rugby player. Started in powerlifting, and I think I was very, very lucky, because my typical intro to powerlifting was the same as everybody else, in terms of I met someone who was a powerlifter, but the person I met who was a powerlifter was Martin Brawn, and he was my boss at the time. I don't know if you guys know the name, but he squatted 345 kilos at 100 kilos bodyweight. One of the best from Britain in, like, he's always up there in the conversations, and he was a same kind of era as Delroy McQueen in his peak and all of this stuff. So really, really lucky in that my intro to powerlifting was a fantastic mentor who basically skipped me over all the bullshit and got me straight into, no, this is how you actually need to train to get stronger. So was able to take the journey quite far. And I'd say the career highlight is getting the invite to Pro Raw out at the Arnold's in Melbourne and lifting there. Great fun, amazing experience. Got my ass thoroughly handed to me by all the Aussies. But then out of the best of the rest, I was there and finished firmly middle of the pack for the lightweights, which I was extremely happy with, given the travel and adjusting to different temperatures and all that stuff. But yeah, then nice. with Sohail, it was kind of like same thing. It was like, I want what I experienced at Pro Raw. I want everyone to see that side of powerlifting and see how good it can be and how mainstream it can be, and how when there's 1,000 people stood around the stage watching this thing. They're all absolutely enthralled, but that just doesn't come across. People think there's all these different barriers to powerlifting, and is a lot of it's in people's head. Like the most common question, am I strong enough to compete? Yeah, just go and compete. That's the first step that you need to do, and that's one of the big things about Brawn with our virtual competitions. It's a small part of the company, but we're hoping it removes that barrier for most people, that perception that they have to do all these different things, get singlet, get membership, understand what different federations are, all that stuff, and they could just kind of dip the toe in and get straight into it and be in a place where all the real lifters are.
Beautiful, and that is the perfect segue into Brawn, the virtual app. What is it?
Almost planned.
Yeah. Tell us about Brawn. What was it? Where did it originate from? Whose idea was it?
I've been kind of toying with the idea of bringing digital kind of features into the sport for a few years. I remember kind of various conversations with people that I'd met in the sport, including Andy, which this is well before the name Brawn, well before kind of I knew what it was going to be, but it was looking at how this sport could be better, could be more inclusive, more accessible, and how we could break down some of the perceptions that people have got of powerlifting. And no offense to Andy Bolton, but the perception is, I don't look like Andy Bolton, therefore I'm not going to do powerlifting. I mean, people think it's for big, hairy 140 kilo guys that can deadlift 400 kilograms. And that's what powerlifting is, because you look at what flies on social media, what gets the most views, it's the big numbers. Actually, and that puts people off. They think that actually that's not me. That's not a sport that I can participate in. When the reality of powerlifting is very different. People don't understand there's weight classes, for example. People don't understand that actually you can train, look good, be fit, healthy, and strong. I vividly remember a conversation that Andy and I had in Body Power, looking at the other brands and sports that had really grown during this kind of purple patch of consumer fitness. Like, we've got the highest number of gym adult memberships we've ever had, highest number of gyms we've ever had, UK and US in particular. And all these sports and brands and companies have got these huge marketing budgets and grown massively. And I took the data of competitive powerlifters over the same period, and yes, there has been growth in terms of participation, but it's relative. You compare those numbers to any other sport, actually the sport is not really growing. It's not getting its true market share. It's losing out on the next generation of lifters because they're doing other things. They're not following or pursuing strength sport or powerlifting as a recreational hobby or something they want to compete in. So eventually where I kind of landed was, if you take these features that sit in things like MyFitnessPal, which turns dieting and weight loss into kind of a community goal, the gamification that leaderboard provide in Strava, and then what I describe as kind of the virtual community model, like Peloton, Zwift, and CrossFit, it enables somebody to virtually compete or compare themselves to somebody else anytime, anywhere. And if you bring those proven platforms or features into strength training, then actually we can benefit the same way that those other sports have, and we can grow it at all different levels. So kind of started speaking to Andy kind of for me 2019, quite early on, saying, mate, I've built a little kind of web app. It's a bit shit. Can you come in, have a look, and can we take this forward? We benefited from kind of the lockdown in the UK. We were able to access resource because people were on furlough. The sport was resetting globally, and we kind of said in October 2020, look, if we can get 200 people from the UK to test this app for us as in actual powerlifters, then by the end of the year we'll have enough feedback so that in 2021 we could build something kind of alpha. We can build a more mature product. Andy did a post on the Friday. We had 250 signups by the Sunday. by the end of the year, we had a waiting list of over 1,000 UK powerlifters, and every single major federation and brand within the sport had contacted us. So without kind of mentioning names, like people that Andy and I said, yeah, the back end of 2021, we might have enough kind of authenticity and credibility to speak to these kind of people and really kind of take this product forward. Well, actually, these people were emailing us on a Sunday in December, and you know which email I'm referring to, saying we've come across this app called Brawn, and we think that it's going to be great for COVID with travel restrictions, but more importantly, for grassroots participation. Like, we think this is something that's going to really grow the sport. Can we speak to you? So obviously Andy emails me straight away going, Sohail, play it cool. Don't email him back until Monday. Which I ignored.
This guy's shocking. This guy's awful. He's always on his emails, and he'll fire them out at all times, not thinking. It's like an email from at 3 a.m. from Sohail Rashid. Yes, perfect. Let's get that booked in. Best wishes. Sent from my iPhone, 03:02 a.m. I'm like, come on. Come on.
Play it
Just
cool,
wait
bro.
4 hours.
Don't act too keen. That's like rule number 1 of dating. Fuck.
No,
3
Jackson.
days.
No.
3
Be
days
persistent
clear
and don't take no for an answer. That's rule number 1.
All right, so 2 trains of thought here.
That's
Two
how
trains of
Jackson got
thought.
married, I think. Yeah.
No, bro, I did the opposite. I was persistent, didn't take no. So
So yeah, that's kind of how Brawn started. And virtual events is something that, let's be honest, it's a massive opportunity for the sport. It enables the biggest competitions to be held because people can compete virtually. It takes out a lot of friction, which prevents people, whether that be travel, whether that be location, whether that be commitments, cost, etc., etc. So virtual events at any level is going to be a mainstay within powerlifting, and we're really pleased that Brawn is kind of providing kind of best-in-class service to enable people to host and participate in a virtual event. But we're a community platform. We're growing the community. Everybody that is on the Brawn app is able to share, connect, support other lifters, and our kind of whole ethos is making lifting better, making it more inclusive and making it more accessible. Now, that might be just seeing what other people are doing and sharing your progress, because that's not what you want to do on your personal social media accounts. It might be having somewhere that isn't a notepad or an Excel sheet to record and reflect on your own training, or to find out other people like you that maybe lift in the same gym or the same area. And for some people, it will be about competing, because everybody gets different things out of the sport. And we feel that there isn't a single point solution that enables lifters to do that. And typically you have to go to Instagram, Open Powerlifting, maybe an app that your coach has recommended, Google Sheets if you use that, Notepad, pen and paper. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very fragmented and very kind of broken in lots of different areas. And all we've tried to do is go, well, what are the actual problems that we've experienced and people that we know have experienced? And Andy's got loads of kind of real life examples being a coach, and gone, well, can we just simplify it? Can we just make it easier for people to do what they need to do in order to participate?
So
Yeah,
what's sorry, Jackson, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, powerlifting is one of those sports that has, like, people will say it's expensive, but it actually has, like, some of the lowest barriers to entry of any sport. Like we were saying, like, you can do it yourself, you can train for it whenever. It has some of the lowest barriers to entry. And then, like you say, the cost, locations, etc. of meets is probably are the only remaining barriers for people. And so you guys are working on routes as such. Everyone's got a phone, so there's no reason why you can't compete now, unless they don't think they're strong enough still.
But then that's the whole point of the app, is that when they're in the leaderboards and when they're looking at their training, they'll see that there's thousands of other people that are the same as them, weaker than them, slightly stronger than them, So they've got a target on their back, and they can see targets on other people's backs if that's how they work. If they work more internally, then I can see my own data and I can see my own progress, and that I'm slowly chipping away. And these 100%. Competitions give me a nice marker to be able to do that. Because one of the things, coming from a rugby background, you train twice a week and you play on the weekends, and you do that for an extended period throughout the year.
Yeah.
Obviously, bar injury. You know, if you are busy as a powerlifter, you'll maybe compete 4 to 6 times, and that would be really pushing it in a single year.
Busy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you'd be so tired, and you wouldn't be able to do that again for 2-3 years, like on the trot anyway. So then that leaves the problem for a beginner into the sport. Let's say you've done your first competition, which in the traditional calendar would be somewhere between January and April, and it would be a qualifier. First time you've done a competition, you now haven't qualified for nationals or internationals because it's your first year in sport. So then what are you going to do from April till December? There might be, if you're lucky, 1 or 2 charity meets, but you're basically now waiting to do a formal competition again until a year down the line. But with these virtual events, because there's no time cost or location cost to the federation, you know, they're not having to hire out a hall, they're not having to pay for referees' accommodation and the hotels alongside that. They're not having to ship equipment around. They're not having to do all the organization, get the electronics there, get the volunteers there to run the table. They can give their members either through their own federation and have that branded, or through some of the challenges that we're running with some of our partner brands. Those people have the opportunity to compete and just keep themselves sharp and keep themselves ready and just give focus to their training all year round, which is absolutely key for us.
So in a nutshell, guys, how do you compete virtually in powerlifting with the Brawn app?
Very, very simple. You take your phone, you record yourself doing a weigh-in. That's timestamped in the app, and those videos are completely private. They're never shared anywhere. And once the competition is done, they're deleted. You then film yourself doing a lift from a specific angle, as according to our rules. Again, timestamped within the app. You show the weights that are on the bar, and then you end the recording, and that's that. You upload it into the app, and it gets judged by our team of international refs, and the results get announced after the competition submission window has ended. There is an entire roadmap of things we can do to further legitimize this in future. In terms of the most common question that we get online is, okay, how do you make sure people aren't using fake weights?
The old Brad Castleberry.
Yeah, and it's going to be fairly obvious. Everyone who's experienced at lifting knows if somebody's deadlifting 400 kilos, even if it's on an Eleiko power bar, there's going to be some bend and flex and whip. And one of our clauses is this, to go probably too far into the detail, but we always reserve the right to request that a lifter shows himself stepping onto a scale with the weights that they used in the competition. And that's, people aren't going to do that at this first competition. And if they do, with the international referees that we've got, we will be able to see it. We do have a panel, we do have an arbitration process, but the essence of it is everything you need is in our app, and it's that simple.
Can I enter a raw competition with a slingshot under my?
Are you an Italian masters lifter who's looking to bench 140 kilos? If so, this is the comp for you.
It was French. He was French. Actually.
I was going to say, yeah, you'll fucking start World War III.
we had the Italian boys that chased down Mail last week, wasn't it? Yeah. So. Yeah. But jokes aside, they're different divisions. Can you obviously weight classes, equipped versus raw, multiply? So, I mean,
we've started off these first competitions are raw only. We're working with Sean and Mendelsohn and Laura Phelps in the States to get the equipped lifting side of things right. It's not something I've got a great amount of experience in as a coach, and we don't want to do something that, our whole mission is to make lifting better. We don't want to put together a half-hearted attempt at equipped lifting. It's such a huge market. It's such a different skill set. It needs people like Shauna and Laura to help us get that right. So for now, raw only, equipped into the calendar in 2022. And then we've taken a slightly streamlined approach, which is lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, junior, open, and masters. So we apply the age adjustment formulas to our juniors and our masters. And then we use BIPS, which is our formula, to judge in the other categories. And what that allows us to do is to host our multi-rep competitions rather than everything always having to be a heavy single. Because like I said earlier on, not everybody's in the shape for a heavy single all year round. So there has to be some ability and some range to these competitions so people can do where they are in the season or their specific season and still compete on a kind of level playing field.
Great. Now, is this is the competition ongoing, or is there a single big event coming up?
Two big events coming up at the same event. Sorry, Sohail, go on. You can go.
No, you go.
So there's two competitions which are technically under the umbrella of the same event. So there's the IPF specific event, which you have to be an IPF Federation member to compete in. And then there's the Kabuki Power Platform, which is open to everybody else. And then that also has a fun little add-on. I say fun and I say little. It's neither fun nor little. It's in homage to Christoph, and it's a 20 rep max deadlift challenge.
Ooh.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm cringing already. Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm signing up. That's it. That's me.
Honestly, it's just ridiculous when you think that he did that with 306 kilos.
Oof.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they run from the 29th of November to the 12th of December. So 2 week submission window, and then they're judged after that, and they both align in terms of categories, age and weight categories.
Beautiful. And I believe you've already had a huge number of signups already, eh?
Yeah, we've got over 1,000 participants from, I think it's currently 17 different
19
countries.
19 countries. We had 2 more drop in last night.
And I don't know when this podcast is going to go, when it's going to be aired, but we're currently closing in on the Guinness World Record of the highest ever participated powerlifting event. So our goal this year,
No surprises there. Yeah,
is to host the largest ever powerlifting event, which would be a great kind of accomplishment for the team, because we worked really, really hard, as you can imagine, getting this pushed out to all those different countries, and I think it's a real statement for the sport as well. And then we'll continue with these virtual global events at some level next year, but we've also got a roadmap where there'll be more kind of localized and community driven events, and that could be gym challenges, it could be more kind of individual challenges, because we just mentioned obviously Chris Duffin's partnership for the 20 deadlift challenge, but we've got a number of other kind of highly regarded, highly respected athletes, keeping the names shush for now. They'll be hosting their own challenges.
When's this podcast going out? Because the announcement will probably have gone out by that point.
It'll be at least a couple of weeks. Yeah, 2
or 3 weeks. At least.
2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
So people will have just seen. So you can say it because people will have just seen the announcement.
Yeah. So we've been talking to John Haack.
Oh wow.
For a few weeks, and he's agreed basically that he thinks Brawn is fucking awesome, basically, and we'll be working with John. We'll work with him now, but yeah, we'll be working very closely next year to look at how we can really kind of amplify strength sports to kind of a wider global community. So we've already kind of got people like Jen Thompson, kind of IPF Hall of Fame. She's a big kind of super fan, but we're really, really excited about John. Obviously, he is the number one powerlifter, pound for pound at the moment, and he's kind of a future legend in the sport, highly regarded, and yeah, I think it's going to be good for us to get people like that are very, very current and very, very kind of ambitious, and they want to see the sport grow. They want more people to be aware of the sport, because the more people know about the sport, the better kind of the experience for everybody, whether it be kind of more brands, more media, more exposure. Kind of it's the cycle, isn't it? So our game here is not necessarily to turn everybody into a powerlifter, but to just make lifting better so that more people participate at the different levels for whatever reason, whether you strength train to improve your ability in another sport, or whether you just do it because it's recreational and it's part of your kind of fitness regime,
Mm.
whatever your kind of goal is for strength training, then we want Brawn to be the solution.
So
And I get-
I've had a wee play in the app. I like it. I enjoy it. It's is there any spot on the app? Is it purely for like squat, bench press, deadlift? Is there anywhere that you can keep like a rant? Because like for me, say at the moment, I'm not like lots of people who are into strength training aren't necessarily gonna squat, bench press, deadlift every week. Like I know that I'm not at the moment. Is there the potential in the future maybe to keep it as like more of a training log type
In
app, which
about-
obviously won't go on a leaderboard because you can't standardize it, but to actually have some sort of training log in there?
In about 11 days time.
Very nice.
It's
There we
very
go.
specific, yeah. Yeah. Not coming up, but no, 11 days.
No, 11 days time, depending, I'm going to put a caveat there, depending on how Apple drag their heels. So again, when this goes out, our training log feature, which we think is the most complete free training log available on the market by a long, long way, with a couple of really standout pieces. One of which is we're really, really excited about. It's called Reflect, pending a name change because we'll see. But what we allow you to do is log, firstly, all of your training. So we currently have a library of 197 exercises, and I'm adding to it just constantly. And you can take 2 videos and line them up on top of each other and line them up so they start at the same frame, and then play them both through at real time or in slow motion. So whether you're looking for technique changes, whether you're looking for bar speed, or whether you just simply go and look how hard I used to bench 100, now look at how easy it is for me to bench 140, for example, you can do that within our app. And it's the first software that allows people to do that. So you can save those reflections, leave notes on it, all the things that you would want a training log app to be able to do. So yeah, as a coach, that's one of the things we need to have a second call about, which is going through that stuff and saying, right, what's missing from this? What can we get into our next development? So you can track by RPE, RIR. You can have a like rest period timer in there, which some powerlifters probably won't, because it might make them more accountable than they'd like to be.
Leave that hidden.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, we think it's already the most complete training log there. And then we've got loads of other things coming in the backlog. So you'll be able to filter by volume per movement pattern. So squat, hinge, vertical and horizontal push-pull, by muscle group,
Nice.
Primary and secondary muscle groups, like loads of different features that are coming to it. And it's, free for all lifters. So 11 days time.
Yeah,
Well, that was-
as a company, we obsess about kind of user experience and what lifters do offline, and how can we kind of replicate that and improve it. So we've invested an enormous amount of time. We started in August, like going to users, and I'll be candid, users that have downloaded the app and stopped using it. Do you know what I mean? Churned users. So people that have downloaded Brawn because they heard about it. And we've looked at data and gone, they've stopped using it. So why? Because clearly what they thought the app did and what they got when they downloaded the app are 2 separate things. So let's find out and see if we can get it closer, because that's the only way you can improve. And it's something kind of coming from the product background that I've got, that's how you make things work, not by kind of build it and they will come. No, what do the customers and the users want? And all of this has been driven from user feedback. So none of this is us kind of thinking, right, what cool whizzy shiny thing has Andy come up with in the shower that we should go and build? No, this is kind of users going, actually, this is a problem I've got, or if you can fix this, it's better. And then we've gone away and actually built something, put it in front of people, asked them the same question again, and they've gone, yeah, but if you could do that, it'd be even more helpful. So we're really, really excited about releasing these because of one thing, that we've spoken to so many people and gone, that's a problem. If you could help me with that, we've won. That's it. Fixing the problems.
Awesome.
I'd like to apologize if any listeners now have an image in their head of me in the shower with whizzy shiny things. Not sure that was the best framing of language that's ever been used.
All right, you might get more downloads. You never know.
Yeah.
Download the app
shiny
today to see Andy's whizzy shiny thing.
And it's free. It's free.
I got stuck on Wizzy, not so much the shiny. Right, gents. I know we've run out of time, but this is probably the most innovative thing I've seen in powerlifting. And well, I don't remember what was the last innovative thing we saw in powerlifting, Jackson.
Blaine Sumner's safety straps.
Blaine Sumner's safety straps, or Blaine Sumner's chicken shakes, perhaps. Yeah,
chicken shakes. Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, so I think it's easy to say we haven't seen enough innovation in powerlifting. So congratulations, gents. I think this is a fantastic achievement. I think there's not going to be anyone that is going to feel threatened, I think, by virtual sports versus traditional, in-person sports. I think this is only going to support the awareness of powerlifting and grow powerlifting. And definitely, as you say, it can be very intimidating when you only subscribe to the big guns, and you're seeing 400 kilo deadlifts, and this just opens up a whole brand new world for people. And there's absolutely no reason why they can't then enter their own first local meet once they've competed online. So, it's win-win for everybody.
Thank you very much for those kind words, Greg. And Jackson, thanks so much for being a Brawn user.
No, I appreciate it. And I like that. I thought that I would have some decent feedback, but you've already had that feedback and already improving. So I like it.
Brilliant.
Keep using it, obviously.
Right, gents, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to keep a close eye on things. When does the competition run from? Just to recap, so we can keep an eye on the results. Are they going to be published anywhere, or will it be just inherent or within the app itself?
The competition window for video submissions opens on 29th of November, and it'll be open up until 12th of December.
Cool.
And you can enter up until the 12th of December.
Excellent. So you can enter throughout that period. Yeah. So for users, anyone listening to the podcast right now, where can they go to download the app and enter the competition? I'm assuming all the traditional places.
Yeah, brawn.co.uk is a sign up for the event, and you can find more details about the app, or follow us on Instagram, which is Brawn_power.
Awesome. And Jackson, they will be sure to put all the links up on the show notes for this one.
100%.
Excellent.
100%. Love it.
Thanks, gents. Appreciate your time.
Shot to
Great, guys. Thank you. See you later.
See you later.